G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole, where on our first story today, OP wants to move out of their toxic family situation. Relatable, just kidding. Now, if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, smack that like button, and enjoy these stories. Let's go. Am I the Arsehole for moving out early? So, a little backstory. I, 22 male, have been living with my sister, 24 female named C, for the last year and a half, with 2 additional roommates, and with only 1 additional roommate over the last half year. However, after I missed a shift and got fired, I fell into a bad mental state. I didn't work a typical retail job for 8 months, but gave her every dime I made doing freelance cleaning/art. It didn't begin to cover rent and utilities, but have since paid her back every cent for those months. I still understand her frustration about that time period because I really could have done more and tried harder. This year, we were set to have 2 additional roommates, S and X, my sister's boyfriend. During the previous year, I would rarely see C on account of her either being at work or being at X's apartment. So I thought, hey, this'll be great. Well, they ended up breaking up. On the bright side, I get to see my sister a ton more. But she's been more snippy and incredibly hypocritical about public area messes. Not just to me either. Right quick, let's talk about our one roommate, S. S is, I can say without a doubt, my best friend. We've spent more or less every minute outside of work hanging out. Recently, S confessed their feelings for me may have turned romantic, and we've slowly been testing the waters of that. This is something I told my sister. Literally, the next day, S gave C a ride home from work, who just started lecturing them rudely, telling her that us dating was a horrible idea, and kept going on, despite the fact that S told her to stop. After this, C's whole behavior got to the point that it felt like you couldn't breathe around her without her throwing a fit. Recently, C and our mother started installing a bathroom in the basement, my neck of the woods. The whole house has only the 1 restroom to 3 people, so an additional would be great in general. I want to reiterate, I did not say anything beyond, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I was not involved beyond that. C believed the process would be a multi-month one, but the folks that she and my mother agreed on got the entire project done within a few weeks, leaving her this $5,000 bill. While all of this is happening, S can't stand to be in the house because it has become a minefield whenever C is home and has started looking for other places to live. S told C the other day that they will likely move out in April and that I may be joining them. C seemed to take it okay, but then turned her sights on me and asked what the whole effing point of the bathroom in the basement is then, and accused me of leaving her with a $5,000 hole. I'm terrified that she's not going to find anyone to replace S, and as much as I want to move out with them, I'm already worried about leaving her with 3 rents, plus the renovation. Am I the asshole for wanting to dip early? I still love her and feel like I owe her for last year, but this behavior is unacceptable. Now in the comments, did you agree to help pay for the renovation? And unless you did, you are not the asshole here. She sounds toxic. And OP replies, I didn't. The bathroom was entirely something that she and our mum discussed. I offered to help pay for it when she said the debt was my fault, but said, you don't pay anything back. Don't lie to me. Despite, again, me paying all of last year's debt off and being on time with rent and utilities every month since I got back on my feet. Get out while you still can then. I understand she's family, and I would leave some money behind to help pay for it since you offered after the fact, but I would be gone yesterday. And now on to the update. Looking back on this first post and how it was pre-pandemic is so goddamn funny. Literally had no idea what was about to happen on a worldwide scale, but in regards to the situation outside of that, I think things have turned out alright. First things first, C ended up kicking out S on New Year's Eve. She gave them till February, but they both didn't want to be in that environment anymore, and was able to find a room with a friend that night, and successfully moved there by noon on the 1st. Looking back, S has constantly said that they are so relieved that they weren't stuck in that house when quarantine hit. Once they moved into their own apartment in February, I followed suit and moved all of my things to their place and continued to pay rent to my sister and half of S's rent until May, despite not living there. But then the pandemic hit and cash got tight. Things between C and I have been, well, strained. Anytime we see each other, we are civil, but given that we hung out on a daily basis before, I am sure she is hurt that we don't talk anymore. But the fact that she hasn't apologized in any way to S yet, which is nearly 2 years later, makes me hesitant to interact with her more than I have to. However, with S and I, it's a goddamn battle every day to not propose to each other. We made a promise early in our relationship that we would wait till we both graduated, just to make sure everything works out. And honestly, what's the harm in waiting if we are still spending practically all of our time together? But have both admitted the second the other has a degree that they are getting a ring. X is still around. I think he and C tried to make it work after the initial breakup, but didn't see their lives headed the same way, so ultimately broke it off but still hang around each other or in the same friend group. Is that it? I think that's everything that was relevant to the last post. Either way, thank you to everyone who gave me advice. Moving out was absolutely the best move, and thank you all for reading. Now in the comments, oof, sorry. This made me sad because in your first post, you really seemed to enjoy spending time with your sister. I'm glad you and S are so happy though. Do you have the ring for them picked out? And OP replies, yeah. It's honestly not the ideal situation with her, but I think spending time apart is good for getting a better perspective and realizing how hard she has been on my mental health. The whole walking on eggshells crap has been prevalent as long as I've known her. It just had hit a high and was also happening to someone who wasn't used to it, and could recognize that it was bad/unhealthy. But yeah, practically. The problem is, S and I are both not huge fans of jewelry, but we are fans of tattoos, specifically stick and pokes, which we've been giving each other throughout the pandemic. The current plan is getting a basic black band to propose, and then after it's official, we will tattoo a ring on one another. The only question is which one of us is going to break and whip out a ring first. And edit, it's probably going to be me. I ordered the rings just to have them at the ready, but I'm also terrible at keeping secrets. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for telling my friend that she needs a life of her own and she has to stop leeching off of mine? Hi. My 25 female, long-term friend, 25 female, has a history of doing whatever it is that I'm interested in at the moment. She asks questions until she's got a clear idea of what music, books, and movies I'm into, and then does a whole act of how she discovered that in front of the whole friend group. Being the pushover that I am, I'm sad to say that I've let her do this for some time, while slowly trying to put some distance between us. This also extends to people. Any new friend or even acquaintance I make should be cleared with her, and then she makes a move on them to get closer to them. She has even tried to weasel her way into my family gatherings and private events. She also, for some reason, keeps telling my dad that she's like the daughter that he would have wanted. He's as confused as I am, but we learn to laugh it off. I've recently noticed that she is rarely interested in something of her own volition. All her leads are from me. I have been getting tired of her behavior for a while. Things came to a head a few months ago when she started texting a guy, 27 male, that I've been speaking to for a while. We went on a few dates, nothing serious as of now, but I'm hoping there would be, and telling him how compatible they could be. He was confused and thought that it was me texting from her phone, so he double-checked with me. I, of course, was beyond angry, but instead of confronting her immediately, I told him to ask her why she is doing this and if she was aware that him and I were almost a thing. Her response to him was to flirt even further and say that her and I had always had similar taste, but went on to mention how he might be better off with her. He sent me the screenshots, and I sent them to her and said, "You need to leave me alone. Things in my life are not up for grabs. You have leeched off of me for long enough. If you keep this up, I won't have an issue shaming you in our friend group." She got very standoffish and accused me of tricking her by using the guy's phone to make her look bad. She also proceeded to speak badly of me to our friend group. I might be the asshole, because during all of this, while other than trying to keep some distance between us, I did not properly voice my concerns. She did, however, notice my discomfort at various occasions, especially my family gatherings. So am I the asshole for handling things this way? Now in the comments, not the asshole. Yes, you could have said something sooner, but this is obviously inappropriate behavior, and you have good reason to suspect that she has known that all along and isn't a hopelessly oblivious amoeba. OP replies to that, "I was hoping she would catch on to my discomfort and the timing of me trying to move away, but she would never acknowledge that." That's not how communication works. It is hard, but sometimes the kindest and nicest thing you can do for people is to be really clear about your boundaries. Hints don't work. You have to use your words. And remember, just because someone is upset doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Which is why I wouldn't judge the friend for taking on OP's interests and boundaries. But a guy? Everybody knows that is off limits. The moment someone does this, they deserve a one-way ticket out of your life. Not the asshole. Share the screenshots with your friend group immediately. Create a group chat with everyone except her and put them out there. She sounds disturbed, like she thinks she can somehow replace you in everyone else's eyes. Now that she knows that she has been caught in a betrayal, she has got nothing to lose. She might tell lies to get people to cut you off. Telling them the truth with evidence is the best way to preserve your own relationships. Yeah, OP needs to get ahead of this. Agreed. This seriously sounds like something on true crime TV shows. OP, you might want to look into cease and desist letters / legal help to start a paper trail to stay safe. And now on to the update. Firstly, thanks to everyone who commented to help me out. Some of it was tough love, but I read every comment and had a chuckle at a few. But it also helped me realize that the issue wasn't as simple as someone copying my interests. So after posting, I rang up one of my close friends to let her know what has been happening. She seemed appalled at how my friend made a move on the guy that I was seeing. She also confided in me that she often keeps telling her how good and well my life is, and how she wishes either her family was like mine, or her job was like mine, etc. She thought it was just harmless wishing, but when everything was put together, it just seemed so unhinged. I also spoke to my dad and mum about how unnerving it was to have her try and do all the things that I do, when they told me that once, a few years back while I was completing a work experience training in another city, she offered to come and stay at my house to keep them company. They honestly thought she was joking because she lives in the same city with her family, and my training was only for 6 months. So, with this new information, I decided it was well and truly time to cut all contact with her. I have let my friends know that she is no longer a part of my life, and to warn me about plans that we were both a part of, and most of them seem to see this coming. I have also decided to stop being around her other close friends. My friends have also told me that they'd keep her from knowing anything about me and my life's updates. I was the one who brought her into this specific friend circle. A few of them already did not get along with her, so they were cool with not hanging out with her. After not texting her back for a while, she texted me to say, "Are you seriously going to let this one guy take away our years of friendship?" Something along the lines of that, and I just said yes. She's kept texting and calling constantly, and eventually sent a message saying, "I hope you and the guy don't work out," and then blocked me. I had refrained from blocking her because I did not want to aggravate her or have her show up at my house. But after she blocked me, I blocked her on all social media and told my parents what happened. So anyway, I feel better not having her hovering around my life, but I'm sure she is going to try and initiate contact sometime, but this time I have decided to stand up for myself. Now in the comments, I'm happy for you, but I'm also afraid for you. Hopefully she will move on to something else, and she probably will. Do you have security cameras? Do you always make sure your doors are locked? And does she know where you work? OP replies to that, yes, I have recently moved back in with my parents as my work switched to a work from home format, and this place is equipped with security cameras, and we have 2 German Shepherds, which I am pretty glad about. Whoa, be careful. She might just bring her, just adopted for no particular reason, German Shepherds to your house. With the same names and even color patterns. What a coincidence that would be. Good for you. It is lovely to have an update, so thank you for that. I am glad that you have gotten so much support from your family and friends. I hope you can continue to live a happy and healthy life. And our next post is titled, Am I the arsehole for not wanting to hang out with my stepdad's long-lost daughter? My stepfather found out that he had a daughter just after the pandemic started. It seems that he had a relationship with a junkie, and she didn't tell him that she was pregnant. She just abandoned the child with her parents and left town, and they didn't know who the father was. That is until I, 17 female, gifted my stepfather a DNA kit as a joke. This is all my fault. He keeps talking about her and how good of a kid she is, and that he could have never known, and so on, all the time. Anyway, with the pandemic winding down, knocks wood, she's coming over to visit and he wants me to do stuff with them. Like, they're going on a hike and to the beach, etc., etc. I don't know why he wants me there. Like, I've done all this stuff before, and all I would do is make things awkward. She is also a bit younger than me. He is sad. He kinda talks about wanting me there sometimes, but is not pushy. My mum wants me to go with him. She's telling me to just suck it up and to spend time with them, and it was not a big deal at all. Weird. I feel like I don't belong there. I don't want to make it awkward. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I feel a bit guilty though. As Mum said, it is just one day, and it's not like I have better things to do, and I do enjoy the things that they're planning to do, and I feel like I'm just being stubborn. Now in the comments, well, if you don't want to, you definitely don't have to. So no arseholes here. But I would ask yourself this, what is the cost or benefit here? It may cost you a few afternoons of time, and maybe a bit of awkwardness, but on the other hand, this young girl might be looking for a family, and you might be able to help out with that. I'm guessing your dad wants you there as a bit of a buffer too. Just having another girl around her age might just make it way less awkward for him too. Again, you have no moral obligation to do this, which is what I'm basing my answer on. But if you were a friend of mine, I'd advise you to at least give it a shot, because what's there to lose here? I don't know. Isn't there some sort of moral obligation to at least be open to supporting the people we love? And it does sound like OP loves her stepdad. This isn't one of those situations where she hates him and has already drawn strong boundaries around the role that he can play in her life. She feels like she effed up by giving him the kit, but she did an amazing thing. She brought together a parentless child with a loving adult who didn't know he was missing out on knowing his own daughter. And that's epic. I suspect that OP is feeling threatened by the existence of a bio-daughter who might steal her stepfather's love by virtue of having a blood tie. That is a very understandable insecurity, and I hope she can tell him about her fears, and maybe the whole family can start therapy together to help navigate the surprise arrival of his bio-daughter in their lives. I'm sure Mum is probably dealing with some of her own feelings about it too. But I think OP would be the arsehole if she preemptively avoids his daughter and refuses to get to know her. She should at least be open to the idea that they could have some kind of relationship as people who share a significant relative. I think OP would be wise to ask for small meetings before jumping into a big all-day events like hikes, but I think it is important for her to show up for her stepdad this way. It would mean a lot to him if she could lessen the friction of a momentous event in his life. And now on to the update. I honestly thought I would get a not the asshole judgment, and when I got minimal amounts of pushback, I abandoned the thread for a few weeks. I did read some of the comments, and I came back to it a bit later and read them while I was calmer. I think I was being very insecure about their relationship. I felt that it was inevitable that he would care more about his biological daughter, and I was kinda resigned to it. But I guess I didn't want that thrown in my face, if that makes sense. He met with her once before I realized that I was being really childish about this. She came over last week and I asked him if we could spend time together. He was really happy. She is a sweet kid and she's hella smart. I thought they would have this special bond. They get on well, but there are still pauses and awkwardness. It's silly, I know. I guess he treats her like he treats me. And yeah, that's about it. It was not this huge deal that I was making out in my head. I was scared, I think. Now in the comments, this is a really nice update. You showed a lot of maturity taking in criticism, working through your difficult feelings, and then putting kindness first. I'm proud of you. If you haven't yet, I would really recommend explaining all of your feelings that you told us to your stepfather. If you can tell him that you were sorry that you were resistant to meeting her at first, that you were feeling insecure about your place in his life now that he found a real bio daughter, tell him how much you love and value him, and if you see him as a father or father figure, add that as well. Explain how your feelings about his daughter changed once you had more time to process, and how you were feeling now. Parents can use some love and reassurance too, even men and dads. Knowing that your struggle was out of how much you care about him will likely touch his heart. And if he knows that you are feeling insecure, he can reassure you. He will also understand and likely will no longer feel hurt or confused. I think it would be positive for your relationship. Unless you've already done this too, then good for you times 2. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.